So I ventured down to Cape Town to actually go and fetch him after our police captain arranged with Fischhoek Police Station's warrant officer Collins to go out to the house and actually assist me to pick up Sebastian, because I am his guardian. About 7 years ago, it might even be a bit longer, their father, the 5 children, their father, after struggling with alcoholism and just really not coping with life, went off to Cape Town on a business trip, and he did not come back. The children did not want him to come back, I must say, and we've always just had a civil. I haven't ever tried to give him a hard time. I have a lot of compassion for the fact that he is struggling with his life. And so I was left to raise these 5 children. Again, with no maintenance, with no assistance. I never went to the state and said, can I apply for funding or for state maintenance, etc. At a time, my mom came and lived with us, and she really helped us a lot. And she actually bought the little, well, when I say little, it's not that little, but she bought the old country house that we're living in. And she said, I just want to make sure that you have a home for whichever kids are still buzzing around in your house in time to come. So I'm actually in the process of inheriting this country house, which is a bit dilapidated. I've been fixing it and working on it, working really hard on it. I met someone 6 years ago, and he is just my rock and helps me so much and has done so much work on the actual house, closing off back stoops and putting pathways and so many things, doors in the sides of the house to make going in and out easier. So, yeah, it's very sad, but what happened was when I got to Fischhoek and I went with the 2 officers to the house, instead of them actually simply going in and fetching Sebastian and handing him over to me, they went in and they started to try and mediate and try and work out who's saying what, why they're saying what, etc. And after several phone calls from the police captain, who said, basically you're not meant to be doing the work of a social worker, you're simply meant to be giving the child to his rightful guardian, and if they have complaints about her, they must do it through the social system. Eventually, after hours, and Sebastian was very, very confused, he was very upset, and he was ranting and raving, and he was just totally out of character. A suggestion was made to go down to Fischhoek welfare offices on the main road, which we did, and after a lengthy meeting there of, again, everybody having their say, and this, that, the other, a very, very nice social worker from Albertinia had been talking to the social worker in Fischhoek, and basically it was concluded that because Sebastian lives in this area, he was to go home to this area, and if the siblings felt they wanted some type of inquiry or some type of investigation into the life, etc., that he has here, then they would do it through her. So we went from Fischhoek. The lady there, Courtney Daniels, instructed Shane to hand over Sebastian to me. And I begged her. I said to her, you just don't know my kids. They're very, 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 very self-willed. They get it from me. I'm very, when I put the bit between my teeth and I see something that I feel is worth fighting for or worth standing up for, I do exactly the same. I said to them, I think it's wonderful that you want to stand up for things, but you actually are doing this or you are misusing that energy, because I have for 33 years been good enough to be your mother and to do every single thing for you all. And yeah, we we went back up to the house. He wouldn't give me Sebastian. We phoned the two officers again, police officers. They came out. They spent more and more hours standing, doing exactly what the captain was saying they shouldn't do. The captain was phoning. The social workers were phoning. The Fishhook social workers suddenly didn't answer their phones and suddenly disappeared and were nowhere to be found, even though it was not actually past the closing time. No one could get them in their hands. Instead of the police actually driving down to the Fishhook offices and saying, excuse me, can one of you come and help, they decided they're going to work out exactly what the problems are, why the children were this, that, the other, etc., etc., and they were doing exactly what they were told. I was actually told it's illegal for the police to do that type of almost like mediating, and this went on for hours and hours and hours. Little Sebastian came out for not even 5 minutes to sit on the step. He was almost suffocating in his mask, which was now full of mucus and snot and trana. And he just said to me he is so confused. He doesn't know what to do, and that he wanted the police to shoot him in the head, shoot him dead. In that moment, I actually thought, why is he saying this? And then I only put two and two together a little bit later that the reason he was saying this was because he was in fact playing this GTA. I had, my older kids had asked to put GTA, for example, onto the computer in our home, and he had seen it. And I'd come past years ago, and like 3 years ago, I'd seen they are allowing him to play it, and I said to them that then if they are causing a problem, then it must rather be disenabled or whatever, taken off the computer, because it's not really nice when you're a special needs child to come along and see your sister who's older playing it, but you can't. And I just said to them, there's so many really nice things and other things that you can do on the computer that I don't really want you to play things that become very, very tempting and very upsetting, that he can't participate in it. So 2 or 3 times in the past, they have put it back on, and then, you discover a week later, you're like, hold on a second, isn't that same game again? So they'd given him a little bit of a taste of it, unfortunately, so once he got to Shane's place, and they worked out that one of the ways of keeping him there would be to allow him this, along with obviously other treats and it was Christmas time and he was being spoilt a lot, and also they felt they could do certain things for him that maybe I couldn't do. But my point was, if they were really interested in him, then in this town there are those things available, and they could also help to get that type of thing happening, and contribute towards it. They did not need to actually take him out of his home. I'm a polymer artist, and I make the most amazing Venetian beads. I always have, and I virtually every second day make a little character, a little ornament for Sebastian. He has a collection of probably about 500 different little characters. We've done, or as he's grown up, all the different movie characters. We've done Nemo and Finding Dory and Bud Spence and Terrence Hill and Winnie the Pooh, and every single movie that he moved through. He wanted little characters of Bart Simpson and the entire gang, all the characters in the village. And he also developed an absolute love, a passion for dressing up. He's very, very, very neat, and he's very, very into clothing. And so when he watched Bud Spencer and them, or I think it was Bud Spencer. He loved the Three Amigos, and he had an outfit. I had to make him an outfit, a hat, pants, everything. And then he went through a patch where he wanted to be a police officer, FBI officer, a pirate, Inspector Clouseau, a soldier, the English soldiers with swords, etc. So everybody in our town, Albertinia, is very used to this lovely little chap who's as happy as a bird on a wire, coming to town all dressed up, completely oblivious to the fact that it is not normal for a 14-year-old boy to be dressed up, but he loves it. He's completely relaxed and confident and happy and very proud of his outfits, because again he has the mindset of probably like an 8 to 10-year-old. So for example, for his birthday, my partner made him beautiful wooden guns and swords out of wood, and I sewed him lovely jackets that have all the fancy rick-rack on it, like the English soldiers, etc. So I'm also devastated at the fact that he is being played with. The last big teenage fight that we had regarding a child literally bullying us landed up with Suzanne going off and living with people that we didn't know at all in Stilbaai, and then she proceeded to run away from them a short time thereafter. So my